is if you were in a situation where you were living outside on the street, where would you go? Where would you go to stay warm? Where would you go to get something to eat? Where would you go to take care of toiletries? What would you, for the ladies, what would you do about feminine hygiene? I mean, these are all very, like, base things that nobody thinks about until you're in a crisis situation on the street. So be thinking about that.
One of the things we talked about with the last group was safety. Of course, when we're out, we're a large group, so that's a nice thing. Safety is good. Do you think that you would have more propensity or less propensity to be harmed by a homeless person? Much less. The reality is, it's typically the homeless person that's the most vulnerable, and that's the person who typically gets hurt the most.
You're by yourself, you have no support system, you really don't trust anyone. What are you going to do? I mean, we look to the local authorities to keep us safe. We call the police when somebody hurts us, when somebody breaks into and steals something from us. But a lot of the individuals that are living on the street do not trust them.
Right.
At all. Honestly,
it varies.
It does vary. I mean, I think a lot of you are very familiar with some of the things that have been posted on the internet. People that, for kicks, go out and abuse other people.
Yes.
Also, to be honest, we were actually just talking the last time I was on. We've done rounds before, and instead of being necessarily afraid of someone living on the street, we've been afraid of people walking out of bars, going home that are drunk. Yeah. So.
I had a gentleman that would stay in the alley in Oakland, and his biggest fear was when the bars let out. So
his kids want to do something stupid, and also, you know, even like another individual that wants something from them.
Our first stop's going to be the red door.
Do we want to go all the way down?
Yeah, we can cut down Cherry.
All right.
The nice thing about this time of the night, we don't have to worry terribly about traffic.
Pittsburgh. Right. But I mean, be thinking about the fact that during the day, this is a hub for business. You know, there's a lot of lawyers down here. At night, you know, a lot of the places that we would consider like a place where we go to catch the bus or to go catch the tea, that's where people are sleeping because the trams aren't running then and the buses aren't running then. And they set up house in bus shelters. They're able to spread their blankets down on a bench, put their belongings underneath, you know, stay out of the cold.
For the most part, our bus system shuts down at 2 a.m. So come 2 a.m., those shelters become a shelter, literally. Doorways become a shelter, literally. Gotta cross, go left, all the way to the boulevard.
But you also have to be thinking, like, what place has security that's going to be walking around and going to kick me out? Like, what, you know?
Or what place has security that doesn't mind me being there, and I feel a little safer being there.
Yeah.
So.
What would be the reasoning behind security kicking someone out? Even if it's, you know, like a business or something that shuts down overnight where there's no one.
Not in my backyard.
Yeah. That's a major thing.
Not in my backyard. Not in my business, not here.
It's about appearances. I mean, whenever there's a large event downtown, there's a large initiative to get people in and off the streets who just don't want anybody to see it. You know?
Whenever there's a large event in town, they actually do sweeps where they actually go and collect the belongings. They collect them up and they throw them away. That could be their mental health medications, their medical medications, family mementos, things that they cannot replace. So, clothes, that's one thing.
Right. What's been the recovery since G20? Like coming back? Because I was told that they were, like, a lot of them were put into, like, the forest of the north side and stuff.
Yeah, we actually, when we did, we can actually stop and talk to everyone. For P20, when we were actually doing rounds on the north side, one thing that we actually handed out information to people. We handed out lists of shelters where people could go. Some people actually did go back to some family members that they could stay with for a temporary basis. Some people just left. Like, we tried to figure out where they were going, see if they'd be safe. They didn't really want to communicate that to us, so it really just kind of depended. Now, since the G20, our rounds have actually been sort of modified because there's actually a site that they used for National Guard training that was a very large camp, and they went and they just picked everybody out, and they've actually blocked the entire thing off and fenced it off. So there is no more access to that. So it's actually very hard to keep track of people. Like, some people don't want to tell you where they're going and what they're doing, but we just wanted people to be safe. We warn them, have your ID on you if you have one. You know, don't be around any of the protesters, don't be around any of the squad, because they will find a reason. Like, cops will find a reason to pick you up.
If you have no ID and you get picked up by the police, they will take you to jail.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
And I mean, that just gets into a whole vicious cycle of having a criminal record. I mean, Becky was actually...
One of the largest issues that we have is recidivism in the legal system, and it's based on trespass. It could be blatant trespass or defiant trespass, whichever they end up being charged with, because they are two different charges. Problem with the homeless individuals, they don't have an address. So they get charged with trespass or defiant trespass.
Or in the case of the G20, they get wrapped up into something that's going on with protesters.
Then they end up with a court date, but they don't know what the court date is, so they don't appear. So that it's classified as failure to appear. A bench warrant's immediately issued. So there starts a revolving door of recidivism to the legal system over simple charges. So it can be disheartening. So
I'm sorry, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I kind of have another one, and it might sound like really unintelligent.
It's okay.
And I understand the power of, like, you know, freedom and free agency, but I always kind of wondered why, if you don't have a home and you feel unsafe, like why you might not want to be picked up and put in for a temporary amount of time. Like, it's not ideal and you lose your freedom, but is there like pressure, like,
I mean, there's a saying, 3 hots at a time.
Yeah.
Most folks are not justice. So,
And, you know, I know someone who is a prison guard. He's made it very clear what it is like to be locked up. Doesn't matter if it's for a night, doesn't matter if it's for, it's a very miserable, disgusting experience. And to be honest, like, there is, you know, the question of being violated in the jail as well, being attacked.
yes.
So, and also they take away your belongings. What happens to everything that you own? Are they going to give back? I mean, it's again, it's another choice.
I've had participants that I followed that have been incarcerated that were not homeless. They lived in a homeless program. They were housed, but they've been incarcerated. And even the simple, you know, change that I left for her to make a phone call to let me know when she got out, and the money that I left for her to make sure that she had a bus fare, never was returned to her when she left the jail. So what do you do? And that's so true with so many people.
And it's scary. It's a scary experience, you know?
We had to go to the jail one time to do an identification on a guy because we didn't know who he was, and he had impairments that would not allow him to let us know what his identity was. I don't really think that he knows what it was. I think his mental retardation and his talking disorder was significant enough that he was probably raised either by family or by being left alone, or he had been raised in some institutional setting and someone all left him. But we took him to the jail to have him ID'd, and the police officer that escorted us decided to